Hello, my name's Julie and I go by Mrs. Frugal. And normally when you watch this channel, you see reselling content. My husband and I are both resellers. We sell on eBay and Poshmark. But if you've been around a little while and you follow me on Instagram, you know we both used to be professional bakers up until, I guess, about 4 years ago for me and 3.5 years ago for him. We were both full-time bakers for over 20 years. So it's the day before Thanksgiving and I'm going to make nut rolls. And confession, I just learned to make nut rolls about 4 years ago. I just never had made them. They just weren't something we did at the bakery that I worked at. And I ended up volunteering at my aunt's church because they make and sell nut rolls. And I got intrigued by the process. Now I ended up finding a different recipe that I use and kind of tweaked it because she used margarine and I prefer to use butter and things like that. But I really like this recipe. I mean, mine don't always turn out perfect. Sometimes I get blowouts and a little bit of splits, but they always taste delicious. So I thought I would show you how I make nut rolls. So if you came here for reselling content and you're like, I don't want to see how to make nut rolls, I completely understand. No problem. But if you want to see, stay tuned. So I put the recipe on the screen and I will put it down in the description below. The first thing you want to do is take a half a cup of milk and warm it. Not hot. Hot milk will kill your yeast, which means you won't get a rise. You just want it to be warm. If I put a thermometer in it, you want it to be, 110 is like even pushing it. You want it to just be in the 90-ish, 100 range. When I did this, it was like 103, and I figured by the time I filmed. So, yep, it's perfect. All right, and then we're going to add to it 2 packets of yeast. Or if you're like me and you buy your yeast in bulk, yeah, I know not many people buy their yeast in bulk, but if you do, it equals 4.5 teaspoons of yeast that we're going to add, there it is, to our milk. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I'm just gonna give this a stir, and you're going to let it bloom, which is when it kind of gets frothy and it means the yeast is activating. So we're going to let it sit like that while I get the rest of the ingredients together. All right, so the first part of the recipe will come back up to me. The first part of the recipe is just literally you are putting everything in the bowl, excluding there's 3 cups of flour that will get added at the last minute. So you're going to put in 3 cups of flour to start, which I pre-measured it in my bowl here. And then you're going to, let me go down again. You're going to get a half a cup of sugar. Let me grab some measuring cups. All right. Where did I put my thingy? Oh, it's in the flour. I just level everything off with one of these, which is an offset spatula, which I love. All right, so half a cup of sugar. We need a half a pound of butter, which equals 2 sticks, or if you're doing bulk butter, a half a pound, and it's nice and soft. I ended up having to put it in front of my furnace vent this morning because it was so chilly in our house. It didn't soften, even though I pulled it out yesterday. So put it in front of the furnace vent for like 20 minutes and we were good to go. All right. I am going to mix this in a KitchenAid mixer because we're going to end up kneading it. You can knead it by hand, but I'm not kneading by hand if I have a mixer that can do it. All right, so up next, we need 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Weird. Oh, right there's my salt. Right. Perfect. And then, oh, we need a cup of sour cream. So I have my cup here. I bought a new package of sour cream, but we had a little bit left in this one. So I'm going to use this up. I'm not a fan of sour cream. It kind of turns my stomach. I remember back when I was a full-time baker, having to make recipes with sour cream in it early in the morning. And I was always like, ew. Now I like sour cream in baked goods, don't get me wrong. I just would never, I'm not someone that would eat sour cream straight up. Plus I'm lactose intolerant, so that's probably not a good idea. All right, open the new sour cream. And whew, I just got sour cream juices on my floor. All right, we've got our sour cream, and we're gonna stick that in there. All right, who's next? Oh, we need 3 eggs. Do I have 3? Yes, there's 3 in here. Perfect. Now, a professional would tell you to break your eggs in a separate bowl to make sure you don't get shells in it. Wow. I started splitting the eggs as if I just needed egg whites. Sorry. Old habits die hard, because when I did this at the bakery, half the time I was separating my eggs to make pastry cream. All right, that's all of those. And okay, so that's everything for this grouping. I'll show you the yeast. You see, it's all frothy now, which is exactly as I want it. So I am going to dump my yeast. Ooh, yeah, it was really frothy in here. And then I am simply going to put this on the mixer, and later we will mix with the dough hook. Sorry, let's bring you back up to me. But at first, we're going to use the paddle. Like I said, we'll eventually switch to the dough hook. So we're just going to put this on the mixer and mix with the paddle for 3 minutes. And I'm mixing like on the second click up on a KitchenAid. All right, 3 minutes is up. The timer went off. It just looks like some gorgeous kind of like thick batter. So now we are going to add the additional 3 cups of flour. So in this recipe, like the recipe that I kind of modified, at this point it said to switch to the dough hook, but I find I add the 3 cups of flour, I let it mix for just the shortest amount of time, and it's easier to get this flour incorporated with the paddle. Then we'll switch to the dough hook. So let me dump this in. Just putting it on lower, because I don't want the flour flying all over me. Got my dough hook. All right, I'll show you. Sorry. See? Now it looks like a starting of a dough. So I'm going to, here, let me put this down, take it off the mixer, just purely so I can get the paddle. I just use my fingers because, like I said, I used to be a professional baker, and your fingers and hands are your greatest tool. So I'm going to clean this off the best that I can. We want no dough left behind. All right. And I'll give it a little bit of a scrape down since I have it off anyway. Scrape that off. And then we're going to put it back on the mixer, attach our dough hook. And then we're going to knead it for another 5 minutes on low speed. All right, it's been 5 minutes. Let me show you what it looks like. Like it's pulled away from the side. It's on the dough hook. So now we're going to take it off. So pretty. Oops, I forgot to shut the timer off. It continues to beep every few seconds if you don't shut it off. So here is my dough. I'm cleaning my hook off, which is a lot easier than cleaning off the paddle. Dough in here. I'm going to get one of these scrapers. Love these. We got them from the bakery we used to work at to get it out. Now you want to get a bowl, a large one. Large bowl you're going to get. And I'm just going to lightly spray it so it doesn't stick too much, but you don't want tons. And I'm going to get my dough and I'm kind of scraping it out of the bowl, but also into kind of a nice ball. The dough is going to be sticky. Get the rest of this. So here she is. I'm putting her in a bowl. Let me wash my hands. So now I'm going to cover the bowl. I'm particular about this and I cover it twice. First I put plastic wrap on it because I'm like, okay, that'll hold the heat in. You probably can just do one or the other of these things. I don't know why I do both. It makes me feel better though. Sorry, we're at the end of the plastic wrap and you know when you're at the end of the plastic wrap roll is not fun. All right, so I've covered both. It completely, I had to use 2 sheets because it was a big bowl with plastic wrap. There it is. Now at this point, because I feel like I'm not that good at rising doughs. That's like my husband. He did the bread. I did the pastries. But I normally take a picture, but luckily it's on film now because we're going to let it rise and we want it to get about double in size. And I always feel like I'm not going to remember what double in size is. So I also take then just like a dish towel and put it over it. And now I'm just putting that bowl in front of my warm furnace vent since it's cold in my house and let it rise. Now the directions say it'll take about an hour to rise. I call bull sugar on that, probably because I only make these like at Thanksgiving and Christmas, sometimes at Easter, and it's still cold even at Easter here in the Pittsburgh area. So my house just isn't that warm. I keep it at like 67 degrees. Oh, that's the timer that I need to switch the laundry load. Sorry. So it just doesn't rise in an hour. So I just keep an eye on it. I would say it's probably going to take about 2 hours. But obviously, if you're doing this in a much warmer environment, you just want to keep an eye on it. But we'll check back in a little bit and I'll show you what it looks like once it's reached double the rise. All right, dough is done. Now unwrap it and show you how it looks. There she is. She's taking up so much more of the bowl. Obviously, you can go by size, but Justin always teaches me that if you press the dough and see how it left an indent of my fingerprint, that means it's risen enough. If it bounces back, that means it needs to rise more. So since he's the baker, bread baker, I go by his word. All right, so now we need to take this dough and split it into 4 equal pieces to make 4 nut rolls. Now, of course, you can just eyeball it if you like, but you know, I like to be precise, so I'm going to use a scale. So I'm just gonna dump my dough out. Get it all. Okay, perfect. Put this over here. All right. And I got a piece of parchment paper. I'm just going to lay it on the scale. And I'm just going to cut it. You can use a knife. I should have dipped it in flour. That would have made it easier. I have the same scraper I used. You can use a bench knife if you have one. Whatever works. All right. So let's see. I got 11.4 ounces. Oh, 14 ounces? That's way different. 14 ounces. All right. So these two are 14 ounces. Let's see what this one is. And that one's 15. So let's take some off there. So that's 14. My parchment paper just ran away. Landed on the chair. Oh. What's this one? 13. So we just need, just going to take the tiniest bit from these other ones. Like I said, it's not really that big of a deal. All right, so I'm just going to shape my doughs a little and set these ones off to the side because I'm just obviously going to do one at a time. So these ones are going to rest over there. Let me move the scale out of my way. All right, so I have my bowl of filling. I also melted probably like 2 tablespoons of butter and just put it with, what are those things called? Like a baster, I guess is what it's called. Get rid of my dough knife. Now I'm just going to lightly flour whatever surface you're rolling on. I have this old cutoff of countertop from our first house that I always roll dough out in. So I'm trying to remember the size I roll it out in. I got a roller. I'll kind of roll it, see what it looks like to me, and then we'll measure it and go from there. I am going to say that I am not good at rolling dough out. I normally make Justin roll pie shells and stuff out for me. I have like major damage to my body from being a professional baker for years, and it kills my wrist. So we're just trying to get more of a triangle shape. I like to pick my dough up because I like to know that it's not sticking. Maybe that's probably not the best way of doing it. All right, I'm pulling out to the sides to get my corners. Feeling pretty good. All right, let's measure it and see because I literally have no idea. All right, so that's like 13.5 inches by 10. So yeah, I think at my aunt's chart, I can't remember if it was 12 inches or what. I mean, obviously the thicker you do it, the, more breadier yours are going to be. But I think this is a good measurement. All right, set that there. Now I'm just going to take a little melted butter to kind of give the filling something to stick to. All right. And then I'm just going to eyeball. Now you want to leave a strip without, like down here, I'm going to leave a strip where I'm not going to put the filling to kind of seal it. What is that in my, don't know what that is. I think it might be part of the rip-off thing on the package. All right. To get it in here. Just trying to be careful to leave my end where I can seal it off. That's my biggest problem with making nut rolls is like leakage. I feel like I'm not as good at that part as I'm supposed to be. But like I said, they still taste delicious. All right, so now for the rolling, I'm just going to roll it up and then I kind of tuck the, here, maybe I'll bring you over here. All right. All right, that's a better angle. So I roll and I kind of tuck my ends in some as I roll. Shoot, I just realized I didn't get my pan ready. I was so busy getting my camera ready. And then this is why I wanted it to be left. When you get to this side and you roll it over, you're going to try to kind of seal it off. See, I didn't do a good job of sealing my ends because I'm losing some of my filling. This is where I screw up, but I'm just gonna try to seal it off now. You see your cute little roll? So yeah, after it's rolled up, it's about 12 inches, so perfect. All right, now I need to grab a pan to put this on. So I just got a pan, put parchment paper on it, and I'm gonna put, since it makes 4 logs, 2 on each pan because they're gonna rise again for another hour. So I'll probably put you on fast forward speed and you can watch me do the rest of these rolls. I judged the filling. It looks like perfectly. I'll definitely write that down so next time I don't have to eyeball it like I normally do every time I make these. All right, last one. All right, so here they are. I'm going to cover them both in plastic wrap and with a towel again and let them rise for another hour, hour and a half. We'll see. All right, here we are. It's like 2 hours later. They are definitely puffier, and when I touched them, it left the indent of my finger, so I'm about to put them in the oven. They bake at 350 for about 26 minutes. I'm going to bake the first batch, then I'll do the second batch. All right, the timer just went off, so we're going to see if I've taken the first batch out. Oh my gosh, they look so pretty. We have a little bit of a blowout, but like I said, that happens to me a lot. I'm still getting good at sealing them. All right, now we got to put the next batch in. See, blowout on that one, but they look so pretty and they smell so good. I don't want to. All right, second batch coming out. They look good too. These ones might be a little bit more blowy outy, but I think they're still gonna taste amazing. All right, I'm gonna let them cool and then I'll come back later on after they're cool and we'll cut them open and check out the swirl. So here they are, hours later. I'm gonna slice them up and give it a try. All right, so I picked one. We're gonna just slice it in the center to see how she looks. Ooh, very pretty. I'll cut an end off. Ooh, look at that swirl in the end. Very good. And here it is. I sliced one up, plus this is a whole one. Just so delicious. Like, good swirl, good filling inside. You can add any kind of filling you want, different jellies. You can use different nuts, poppy seed, whatever you like. They're really not that hard to make. It's just all about waiting for it to rise, which I am not a big fan of waiting, so it's kind of hard for me. But trust me, it's worth it in the end. You can put these on cookie trays, or we're going to eat this for breakfast tomorrow. Okay, let's be honest. I'm going to eat a bunch of it right now. All right. Thank you so very much for taking the time to watch this video. Especially if you normally watch my reselling videos and you're like, why is she making baking videos? If you like baking videos and you're like, you should make more of those, let me know in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. All these things help push me out into the mysterious YouTube algorithm. I hope you guys have the most wonderful holiday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
It's past Thanksgiving. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And whatever holidays you celebrate through December, I hope you enjoy those too. Thanks so much. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.